So let's get started in multi-table queries. So as a note, everything that we've done so far with the single table queries can also apply to the multi-tables. It's just that we haven't gotten so complicated that we've needed to pull in a second table. So you can see that there's a lot you can do with just one table, especially if you're making good use of the foreign keys that are within them. But sometimes you just really can't do that. So first thing we're going to talk about is aliasing. This is one of those things where we're going to just make life easier on ourselves. Okay. So here's an example first of doing this when you just have a single table. So I could have thrown this in last week, but why? Okay, so you can see here that in the from line, when we have our long annoying table name, which is customer underscore T, you put a space and then the short name for it. You can put it like cust or something like that, but if you're gonna do it, you might as well just like make it a single letter. So this shortening of the table name is only going to apply to this query. It's not going to go to any other one, so it doesn't matter how short you make it, or if you use the same thing for a different table in a different query. That doesn't matter at all. Okay, so we do customer T, the C, and then you bring that shorthand that you put there and you put it in front of each of your attributes. So C dot attribute name, C dot attribute name, C dot attribute name. So you have to do that across the board. So if we're in a single table query like this, it doesn't save us any time because we're not referring to any other tables. So that's why it's really a multi-table cool thing to do. So what happens is, and if you can look down here, this is basically what it looks like when you have multiple tables. So you'd have one table name, the shorthand letter, the second table name, the shorthand letter in the from line, and then in the select line, you can put the shorthand letters as needed in the where line, in the order by line, anything else that you have going on. So why does this even matter? So a lot of you have IDs that you might have just put ID on your table. So you have the same attribute name in multiple places inside of your diagram. You might have the same like attribute of like name, address, city, state. So like if you have an ERD where you have like customers and employees, those are common things to have duplicated, right? So you basically would end up with two choices of either have very unique attribute names like customer address or short attribute names and then doing this tactic. So it saves us from having to do that attribute thing and knowing every single attribute in your entire ERD just so that you never duplicate an attribute name. The second thing that it does is that it lets us do things like this. So if you notice, this isn't actually multi-table, sneaky, sneaky. This is a unary relationship. So we have the employee T, and then we have it once aliased as an E. We have it the second time aliased as an S. And then we have the employee name, drawing it from the E table. The supervisor name, we have it attached to the S. And then this is a simple way that we join the two tables together. And you'll see this when we get into the joins momentarily. So here I've said, okay, pull from the employee table the supervisor ID. And we're going to say that that is the primary key the foreign key is the ID on the supervisor table. And those were basically saying that link them together, that the primary key and the foreign key are the same thing, match those IDs together. So what does this actually look like? So here I have that query set up here, and this is the employee table, and this is the Pine Valley database again that we've seen before. So what happens when I run this query that we have here? And the reason why I have this order by line here is so that it comes out in order of here, so we can easily look at this. So I run it. I've got two columns here, like I asked. You can see that the employee, Phil, their supervisor's ID is 454, which is Robert Lewis. So this, and I know a few of you do have unary relationships inside of your database. This is how you do it. As simple as that. So now you have a good example of what that actually looks like, which is good. Yeah. So would this be possible if we didn't have the aliasing function? Not really.